Ladies and gentlemen, what if I told you that the key to unlocking the life you've always dreamed of lies within you? That the single greatest force you can tap into is already inside you, waiting to be harnessed. It's not a magical trick, it's not some secret formula hidden in a book, and it's not about who you know or how much money you have in the bank. No, the key to everything you desire, everything you want to achieve, comes down to one simple but powerful word: self-discipline. Self-discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. It's not about motivation, but the consistent commitment to do what needs to be done, regardless of how you feel. Motivation is fleeting, it's the spark that gets us started, but it's self-discipline that keeps us going. Anyone can feel inspired to take action when they're riding a wave of energy, but the true test of character lies in the ability to push forward when the excitement fades and when the real work begins. When we set goals, we often picture the outcome, the success, the rewards, the recognition. But we rarely take the time to fully appreciate the work involved in getting there. It's easy to get excited about a new project or a dream, but how many people follow through when the challenges begin to stack up? How many people can keep pushing after the initial rush of motivation is worn off, when they're tired, frustrated, or distracted by the endless demands of daily life? This is where self-discipline comes in. It's the key to unlocking consistent progress, even on days when you're not feeling motivated. Self-discipline is the ability to stay the course, to keep your eyes on the prize, even when everything around you is urging you to quit. It's the mental strength to do what you know needs to be done, whether it's waking up early, sticking to a workout routine, or completing that project you've been avoiding. Motivation might get you started, but it's self-discipline that gets you to the finish line. Think of the process like building a house. The dream of the finished product, the beautiful house, is easy to envision, but imagine the days when it's pouring rain, the contractor is late, or the materials aren't arriving as scheduled. If you relied solely on motivation, you'd give up on building the house after one or two setbacks. Self-discipline is the understanding that the work has to be done whether you feel like it or not. It's about pushing through the challenges, maintaining focus, and getting up each day to continue laying brick by brick until the house is complete. The problem is that too many people believe that success comes easily, that achieving a goal should feel exciting all the time. But the truth is, achieving anything of value requires effort, resilience, and above all, consistency. The most successful people are not the ones who are constantly motivated, they are the ones who have learned to master self-discipline. They've created systems in their lives that allow them to stay productive, even when the initial excitement fades. They don't rely on motivation to keep them going, they rely on their habits, their routines, and their commitment to long-term results. This is why self-discipline is so powerful, it transforms our behavior from being reactionary to being purposeful. Most people wait for the right moment or for a burst of motivation to get started. They allow themselves to be controlled by fleeting feelings or circumstances. But when you build self-discipline, you shift from being a passive participant in your own life to an active creator of your future. Instead of waiting for the mood to strike, you decide in advance that you will take action. And when you take consistent action, even on days when you don't feel like it, momentum starts to build. Self-discipline also allows you to overcome distractions. In today's world, we're surrounded by constant interruptions, emails, social media, messages, phone calls, the demands of family and friends. These distractions can easily derail us from the path we've set for ourselves. But when you develop the discipline to stay focused on what truly matters, you start to reclaim your time and energy. Self-discipline means being able to say no to the distractions that pull you away from your goals and saying yes to the actions that move you forward. But here's the kicker: self-discipline isn't about being perfect. It's not about always doing everything right, never making mistakes, or never feeling tired. It's about the ability to get back on track after a setback. Everyone will face moments of doubt, frustration, or failure. The key is not to let those moments define you. Instead, self-discipline is about making the decision to get back up, refocus, and continue moving forward, even after a fall. It's about creating a mindset of resilience where each misstep is seen as an opportunity to learn, not a reason to quit. There's also an element of patience and self-discipline. We live in a world where instant gratification is everywhere. We can get food delivered in minutes, watch movies on demand, and even track our investments in real time. But success doesn't work that way. True, lasting success takes time, effort, and sustained focus. If you want to achieve something significant, whether it's in your career, health, or personal development, you have to be willing to put in the time and effort day after day, regardless of how quickly the results appear. Self-discipline is the ability to take those small actions every day, even when the results aren't immediate, because you trust in the process and in the power of consistency. A common misconception about self-discipline is that it requires willpower to be constantly strong and unshakable. While willpower plays a role, it's not the foundation of self-discipline. Instead, self-discipline is about creating systems that make doing the right thing automatic. Willpower is a limited resource. It can run out. And when it does, we tend to give in to temptation or procrastination. But when you create habits and routines that align with your goals, you no longer need to rely on willpower alone. You're building an environment where the right choices are easy, where your actions are aligned with your vision, and where self-discipline becomes second nature. For example, let's say you're trying to get healthier. Motivation might get you to the gym once or twice, but self-discipline is what gets you there consistently, even on the days you don't feel like it. Self-discipline is deciding to go to the gym before your mind has a chance to convince you otherwise. It's preparing your meals in advance so you're not tempted by unhealthy food choices. It's making your health a non-negotiable priority, not because you're always excited about it, but because you know it's the path to your long-term happiness and well-being. At its core, self-discipline is about understanding that what you do today determines your future. Every action you take, every decision you make is a step toward your desired outcome. Whether it's spending an hour working on your business, dedicating time to learning a new skill, or putting in the effort to strengthen your relationships, self-discipline ensures that those actions align with your goals. It's the commitment to your future self and the understanding that no dream will come to life without consistent, disciplined effort. In the end, self-discipline is not about making life harder or restricting yourself. It's about creating the conditions for success. It's about understanding that the true reward lies not in the outcome, but in the person you become on the journey. The more you cultivate self-discipline, the more you align your actions with your values, and the closer you get to living a life of purpose and fulfillment. It's the bridge that connects where you are today to where you want to be tomorrow. And the more you commit to it, the more you'll see that success isn't a distant dream. It's the inevitable result of the small, consistent actions you take every single day. True freedom comes from mastering your habits, not from avoiding responsibility. Self-discipline allows you to control your future by choosing intentional actions over distractions. We often think of freedom as the absence of rules, the absence of restrictions, or the ability to do whatever we want, whenever we want. But real freedom, lasting freedom, doesn't come from living without boundaries. It comes from having the power to choose your actions, to take responsibility for your choices, and to consistently act in alignment with your highest goals, even when you don't feel like it. The common misconception is that freedom means you're free from responsibility. But the truth is, true freedom is about having the discipline to choose your commitments and your behaviors. It's about taking control over the distractions and external factors that so often pull us off course. Without self-discipline, we're at the mercy of our impulses, our habits, and the world around us. When we don't have control over our own actions, we are slaves to the whims of the moment. But with self-discipline, we gain the ability to shape our destiny. When you master your habits, you master your life. Habits are the foundation of everything you do. Whether you realize it or not, your life is built on your daily routines and your actions. What you do every morning, every afternoon, and every evening determines your success, your health, your relationships, and your career. Your habits dictate how much time you spend on things that move you toward your goals and how much time you waste on things that pull you away from them. If you're someone who consistently chooses to prioritize the things that matter most, whether it's exercising, studying, or working on a project, you're stacking the odds in your favor. Self-discipline is what helps you prioritize and stay consistent, regardless of how much easier it may seem to fall into the trap of distractions. At the core of this idea of freedom through discipline is the notion that we are always making choices. Every moment of every day we're making choices. And those choices are what shape our future. If you want a successful, fulfilling life, you have to make choices that align with that vision. But without self-discipline, those choices are often driven by impulses, moods, and external influences. We may decide to skip a workout because we're tired, or procrastinate on a big project because it feels overwhelming, or we may give in to distractions because they offer instant gratification. The result? We end up living in reaction to the world around us rather than intentionally creating the life we desire. Self-discipline, on the other hand, helps us move away from living in a reactive state and into one of proactive control. It gives us the strength to do the hard things, the uncomfortable things that we know will lead us to a better future. It's the ability to sit down and work when you'd rather watch a movie. It's about saying no to that unhealthy snack when you're tempted, because you know that taking care of your health will pay off in the long run. Self-discipline helps you put in the effort, even when the immediate rewards aren't apparent, because you understand that your future self will thank you for the actions you're taking today. A major part of mastering your habits is understanding that your actions don't just impact your current state, they compound over time. When you engage in a positive habit consistently, it builds momentum and you begin to see the results. This could be anything from exercising regularly, saving money, reading daily, or maintaining a strong work ethic. Over time, these habits lead to a sense of accomplishment, progress, and ultimately freedom. You gain control over your life by making choices that move you closer to your goals, and this consistent, intentional action allows you to break free from the distractions and bad habits that previously held you back. At the same time, mastering your habits allows you to avoid the subtle traps that often seem like freedom but aren't. Think about the pull of instant gratification, checking social media, binge watching a TV series, eating unhealthy food, or spending money on things you don't need. These actions may feel good in the moment, but they don't provide long-term satisfaction. In fact, they often leave you feeling empty or regretful. The momentary freedom they offer is an illusion. Real freedom comes when you break free from the chains of impulse and distraction and take charge of your choices. Self-discipline allows you to say no to short-term pleasures in favor of long-term rewards. This is where many people get confused. They think that living with self-discipline means living a restricted life, full of no's, where they're always denying themselves what they want. But in reality, it's the exact opposite. By mastering self-discipline, you are creating a life where your choices are intentional, not impulsive. You're free to focus on what truly matters and to pursue the goals that align with your values. When you master your habits, you are no longer controlled by your impulses or external forces. You're in the driver's seat of your own life. You get to decide where you go, and you get there with purpose. This level of intentional living allows you to step into the freedom to create the life you desire. It allows you to break free from the cycle of self-doubt, procrastination, and guilt that often accompanies an undisciplined lifestyle. When you start to exercise self-discipline, you begin to see the connection between your actions and the outcomes in your life. You start to realize that you have the power to create the life you want. It's not about waiting for the right circumstances or the perfect moment. It's about taking consistent, intentional action every single day. Self-discipline is the foundation of the kind of life that allows for true freedom. When you are disciplined, you are free to focus on what matters most. You are free to pursue your passions, to build your career, to improve your health, and to nurture your relationships. You are free to be the best version of yourself because you've eliminated the distractions that pull you away from your true goals. In contrast, without self-discipline, you may feel like you're constantly battling against yourself, living in a constant state of reaction. You're chasing temporary pleasures, avoiding responsibilities, and putting off important tasks. This reactive state is a form of self-sabotage. It feels like freedom in the short term, but it creates limitations in the long term. You might feel like you're free to do whatever you want, but in reality, you're bound by your lack of control. Ultimately, the freedom that comes from mastering your habits is the freedom to choose your future. It's the freedom to align your daily actions with your goals, knowing that every decision you make brings you one step closer to the life you desire. By choosing intentional actions over distractions, you're not restricting yourself, you're empowering yourself, you're setting yourself up for success, for fulfillment, and for a life that is fully aligned with your deepest values and desires. When you master your habits, you free yourself from the limitations that come from reactive living and step into a life of purpose, intention, and true freedom.